Hi everyone, this is Joanna from Heavenly Radiance Shamanic Tarot, Universal Love Light Ascension Teachings and Wisdoms. We hold webinars, global webinars, and intuitive Christic vibrational healings online and classes, Ascension classes, as well as Joanna's Breakthrough series, because you're breaking through to something new, because that's Ascension. So exciting. How's everybody doing? Welcome to our early morning Ascension chat, where we get to commune and connect on a really beautiful, intimate level. We get to share one another's stories. So please, 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 please feel free to comment down below what you're moving through. I do answer all comments that come in and out of our offerings, and knowing that we're one in this journey of expression and exploration of who we are as the creative divine essence, the expression of source. And it's so exciting sharing more of my personal self, which feels, to be honest with you, uncomfortable because I've held myself at bay for forever in this particular lifetime, and it's taken me much to resolve all of those energies of my uniqueness, my preciousness. And we did a video yesterday on precious activation of the heart, feeling the preciousness of who we are and honoring that preciousness of who we are, allowing ourselves to walk forward in our own preciousness, regardless of what is moving in and around us. Knowing that it's a constant soup of energy that we're always choosing from our inner centeredness and our higher perspective to choose to just move and be in the world, but not of it, and just allow the energies of the soup to be as it is, and not feel affixed and kind of responsible for fixing everything that you see that seems to be out of place. Because as the more you awaken, the more that you see of what was going on, the things that were hidden will come forward, because there's greater light on the planet, and all mistruths and untruths will come forward in every way. But what's really exciting is that the awakened community and the global collective community can now bring that greater light to the socioeconomic systems. And my teams have been, been showing me that my light is needed in the infrastructure. And so how can we begin to create, and bring truth to the systems that were lacking great truth and were very unfair, in all the ways that we've talked about, how we've created, minority and why would we even do that? That's the segregation and subjugation that we've all experienced through separation. Why would we even have minority groups? So those are things we get to place on the table and sort out vibrationally. So allow yourself to each day come to the table and to say, we're in a world of beautiful vibrational soup, especially in the Lionsgate energies, where they're so profound. The Lionsgate I've always found through all my Ascension years, and I've always, when I've created on land and retreat ceremonies and things like that, I would book them on the 8th of August, because it's such a profound energy for transmutation, such a profound energy for connection with our galactic universal families. So just know it's an intense time, especially with the full moon that's coming up, and those cycles of ascension, that clearing and releasing what no longer serves vibrationally, because it's all vibrational first. And then doing that, you are allowing yourself to awaken to the sun and the light that's always been within all things. It's been the beliefs that we've held about ourselves. And so it's a profound time. So just know that you can choose to be in the world, but not of it, and not to allow what is going on in and around you for the emotional shifts, whether it's within your family or the collective, to not affect you. You can choose to not have it not affect you. And so that was a big thing that I had experienced this year in the family circle, is that you set that vibration as that pillar of light, standing in your truth, being that pillar of light with source. That's your stability, that's your centeredness. And to allow all others their space of flow through their soul's experience, and not to have to fix it, to mediate it, or to direct it in any certain way, but to allow the natural flow and the progression of each person involved, and take the responsibility off your shoulders to want it to be right, if you will. because as you awaken to that greater integrity, that greater truth of who you are. And that will shine that light on absolutely everything within your circles, intimate and global, of what's not truthful, what's not with integrity for you. And everybody has as that different soul pacing, soul depth, and soul truthfulness, how each soul is living within their unique truth, the greater light that that soul will encase, because light is truth and truth is light. It's transparent, and that will allow those things that are aching for regeneration and renegotiation, behaviors within circles and so forth, it will come up and come forward. So all the mistruths and all of the deeds, if you will, that need to be sorted out vibrationally to be forgiven and to be compromised at that truthful level, that truth will mend it, and that's light mends. You can then make your decision as that soul, to say, well, this is how I want to negotiate my soul's path now. This is my new direction. I want to really create, art outside. I want to do this, I want to do that. Who's in? What are you guys up to? How can we connect at a soul level? So it's always a constant working of the energy. It's always a constant working of the energy. And be okay with not allowing, what you're seeing and feeling as, the awareness of what was always there, but you didn't see because your eyes were veiled in, the game, if you will. We all have those aspects where your intuition is telling you something and you're just in the game, and you see things come to the surface, and it's like, okay, it had to come forward. It's now allowing me a higher truth. I choose not to partake in that because it's just not the vibration anymore. And it could be anything. It could be what you eat, as we talked about yesterday, and sharing your truth and expressing your truth in all ways, minor and major, whether that's, your new eating habits, spending more time outside, meditation, chanting, singing, yoga, whatever it might be that allows your soul to be fulfilled. Because the soul will ache for you to be fulfilled in a mental, emotional, physical, and etheric way. And because the emotional bodies are so out of balance for the collective in and of itself, those emotional achings and urgings for each and every one of us, it's practice now to bring the emotions and how each of us are feeling in our everyday connections, without compromise. The emotional body and how each of us are feeling is an absolute part of everyday self-care, just like brushing your teeth. Checkpoints throughout the day. How am I feeling? What am I feeling? Let's constantly work the energy so that I'm absolutely clear and not carrying around the densities and the negativities into this new platform, because then it co-creates really quickly because the templates are fast. As we talked about yesterday, the idea and the concept of time is being dissolved, so it's instant. So that's why the emotional bodies and the mental bodies are to be healed, deal with it, sort it out, bring it to the forefront, because it does manifest very quickly, just like fear and worry, especially if you have kids. My hair is goddess. It's goddess Medusa today. I love Medusa's hair. It's just for her lanky curls, and to me they weren't snakes, they were curls. And for the Medusa anyways, the snakes is about healing and how her ability to heal, and that's what it meant for me. A lot of things that I interpret are not what is interpreted in what's written. Because as I said yesterday, the divine feminine in many ways has been occulted and underworlded in ways that have suppressed our natural innate beauty and essence of who we are as divine feminine. Thank you to the divine and holy mother fathers that are living through us to bring the divine feminine in the children so that we are all equal. All of us are equal, which is what in our morning conversation we wanted to talk about today. I'm just going to get my coffee. Good morning to my unicorn. You guys come up with any names? Come up with a name for my unicorn. See, she's so pretty. Just like me. So what we wanted to talk about today, when I woke up this morning, my team had asked me, I've written it down in my journal because I thought it was quite profound. And I knew sometimes when they ask me, I already know what they're getting at, because it's something that I feel myself in my everyday life that I've been negating or not facing, and that's because it's in such an incredibly emotional, challenging time for me the past 2 years that I've been putting a lot of things on the back burner. But now it's time where you can't put it on the back burner anymore. You've got to face this and you've got to move the energy. That's just how steeped we are in the emotional body. I mean, it's incredible what we have come to transform and transmute this lifetime. It just boggles my mind. I could write 5 books simply about the Akashic healing that anyone's soul can move through. I mean, it's just incredible what we clear in this one lifetime. It's phenomenal. It's just beyond it. There's no words to describe what we are moving through as a collective and why we can have such compassion for ourselves. Why I've moved through what I've moved through, and they're wanting me to be more compassionate with myself and truly face everything that I've gone through and be really proud of it every day. So that will be part of our offering today. And because they're having me create this more intimate experience with you, it's allowing me to also remind all of you, because you're my brothers and you're my sisters, just as if I was talking to my own brother and sister, allow yourself the compassion to really feel proud about who you are and what you've moved through. Like, do that life review once a week and say, wow, because every time you do a life review, you'll have a different perspective of it, and you'll have greater appreciation and greater gratitude for everything you've moved through. Even if it seems as if you've experienced things that at the time were very egoic and had hurt others around you, you can look at it and say, wow, I learned so much on how to be truthful. I learned so much on allowing my heart to feel that centered space of spirit, and what the difference in feeling egoic and spirit is all about, because there's an absolute vibrational difference. Ego is about that win-win. It's about that maintaining control, maintaining that level of, ego presence, whatever the ego needs to do and fulfill itself for safety, which are all illusory. The spirit wants full transparency and truth, because that is the fulfillment of unconditional love for one another. Because if you're truthful with yourself, you're truthful with all others, and it's unconditional love, So your truth is your greatest strength. Your love is your greatest strength, and that's truth. However uncomfortable it might seem for others, this is my truth, and you'll find that vibrational truth calling in those that are absolutely at that vibrational truthful level as well. So that's a vibrational, it's an automatic synchronistic experience for the universe. You're putting out your truth and it's coming back. So what they had said to me this morning when I woke up is that, what do you define and value yourself as growth? Like, how do you define growth for yourself? And as soon as they offered it to me, I knew where they were threading. They want me to thread into that seeking so that I resolve it, and that's what your teams and your guides and your higher self do. They're so beautiful. They know that you have every capacity to filter in the threads of all of your lifetimes and find out, in this lifetime, how can I resolve this distorted masculine energy, which is what that meant for me. And for anybody that's asking themselves that same question, why they're posing it to me is because I understand that I'm also presenting it at a collective level and bringing greater light to the infrastructure. Our entire socioeconomic system is a distorted masculine energy, very distorted and very exhausted and very tired, because it's been egoically driven by outdated paradigms of goals and greed and power that have been imbalanced. That's the divine masculine imbalanced, and we're bringing it back into balance by the divine feminine, by allowing our society and all that we are as a collective to be nurtured and honored through the emotional body, to know that we are vibrational beings. And vibrational beings mean our omnipresence is vibrational. So how could we have moved so long through our realities without understanding that our emotional feeling experience is not valid? That's why we have been in the positions that we have been, because it's been highly and saturated through the lower mind, the intellect, which has been overworked and overburdened, cannot do the job that spirit and soul heart can do. Living heart-based is a spiritual experience, is the spirit feeling, nurturance, emotional experience. Not that, again, it's that balance, not living entirely as the emotions, but because we have been so suppressed in the emotional body, because we have been so negated in our emotional feeling experience as humans, spirit beings, we're now understanding that we are all omnipresence. Our emotions are how we move about life. How am I feeling right now? Is this feeling good or is it not feeling good? And I'm going to own it, claim it, and honor it. And I'm going to choose new. It's really very simple if we're honoring the process, and that it doesn't get to be overwhelmed and overburdened by emotions that have not been resolved and honored. And so allowing ourselves to bring all that we are back into balance through each and every one of us, through such, we then carry that greater balance for our collective societal. And we can see that in everything that we're moving through, obviously, through the politicians and the various things that occur within our society. It's been driven by a very distorted masculine, divine masculine energy that is needing healing, to bring the divine feminine back into the collective omnipresence through that caretaking, that nurturance. We are a family of one. We are omnipresent. We are resonant beings of heavenly light. We are infinite. If our emotional body is in balance, absolutely we're going to be receiving the highest intellect from the highest heavenly orders. And that's that balance of divine male and divine feminine that are in balance, through which we then, through each and every one of us, get to choose the value system through which we define growth. I had to look at it, because when I woke up, they were, and I knew this because they've been posing questions to me for the last couple of months on, actually years. I remember speaking to someone a couple of years ago, and they were saying, you're driven by, you have been programmed to think that to achieve certain things and accomplishments and goals and, the status quo and money and all of those things, they're distorted male frequencies that has nothing to do with your soul's growth. It's an experience that one can move through to create a certain experience of the soul's expression and experience. And there's been many misunderstandings about a spiritual person being very wealthy and it being, contradictory to the whole idea of spirituality. And that's a distorted concept as well. It's an experience, and we're source. Source is all things. So there is validity to all things. It's always valid. Source will want you to experience all that you can, So if you desire to have the luxury to always have enough financial abundance as an experience, then that is spiritual. How you move within the honoring of that, the fluid flow of that, will dictate your experience of that. It's all about honor and your vibration within it. It's always about the vibration within it. But because we've been such a distorted experience societally about the distorted male versions, many people have those experiences about abundance, about those that have money, if you will. And that's for them to heal. Those are those projections that they're healing. Well, if that's your opinion, then how can you heal that? Because Source wants all of us to be abundant. There's infinite abundance in the universe. We're all abundant. It's just a matter of what's your perspective and how are you going to honor your experience within it. Will dictate your experience as you move through it. And so back to growth. So what they were wanting me to contemplate, confront and face, was that what are my ideals and what are my perspectives on growth? Because when I first awoke and I had these concepts, and we talked about that yesterday, about the concepts that we each have as awakening and what that means to us and what it looks like. We're all going to move to this fifth dimensional version of Earth and it's all going to be great. But those are distorted experiences that have little to do with what everyone is moving through right now. And who knew that we were going to move through such global pandemics that we have? And how do we face that? And how do we move through it? And how do we heal that? How do we come through as a one collective in balance and create a greater foundation of love for all? These are all things that nobody has ever thought we would have to move through and experience. And so all of those distorted beliefs that we hold on to, we all hold on to these perspectives. Well, I'm awakened now. This is the belief that I'm going to hold to. they limit us, even in our most highest and biggest dream, if you will, and as positive in the light field as it might be, that we hold on to those and we build around that belief that I thought that ascension was, that if I had allowed myself to experience a certain level of vibrational resonance, then that was, I held that as my accomplishment, my growth factor. And so what had occurred to me a couple years ago is that I had a soul realignment, and that my soul's journey, because of how I had grown and what I had moved through, was realigned to create a greater collective experience. I didn't know it at the time. I knew it after the fact because it was made at the highest soul level in the soul collective family that I work with, and coming from the multiverse, and everything that's moving through, as we all know, is so different and challenging and changing. And it's also getting very expansive very quickly. We're expanding very quickly. And so oftentimes the human body doesn't understand what's going on at the multi-omnipresent verse collective experience. My omnipresent soul version of me absolutely knew that anything that I was going to move through, that I could handle. But the human personality me, because I was so transfixed within the physical 3D reality, you know, everything that was moving through in my particular personal circumstance, was so very challenging, and it brought me to the brink many, many times throughout many, many years. But I'm speaking of that soul realignment 2 years ago. And that soul realignment 2 years ago brought me into an experience through which I moved through density once again, as if I had moved to the highest state of my resonance, that I thought I was feeling so high in vibration, and I was connecting with, you know, 14th dimensional beings, and you know, I was creating these beautiful, lovely, high vibrational experiences through what I thought. They're all definition. And this is, I'm explaining it to you because there's a greater story of growth here. And I was brought into the density to navigate it once again. And my soul, the personality part of me, felt very, very wounded in that, because I had to move through a whole other level of Akashic healings and Akashic regatherings and soul reunifications, as well as dealing with the 3D aspect of it, which felt very, very dense to me. That was when the COVID experience occurred, even there as an empath, being impaled by the collective fears and the energies that my bodies went through, a huge, huge transformation in a way that threw me for a big loop, you know, vibrationally. And it's been working my way back up vibrationally, creating that greater light, calling in greater light, releasing the residue of the past two years, you know, of navigating such density. I understand now, looking back at it, why they're asking me to you know, come forward and appreciate and value the journey that you've been through, because your soul is so very profound and strong to have done what you've done. I did that for the value and the growth that my soul knew that I would need and I would carry forward for the infinite number of collectives that I'm connecting with as the human condition, the human spirit, the human divine preservation, the perseverance and the determination that we have to know that light will always carry us through, that love will always carry us through, that the connection that we own within ourselves, no matter what, light and love will always prevail, and love and light will always lift you regardless of how difficult those energies may seem and feel and be experienced as. And so that's the strength for me now. And every moment I can understand and contemplate what growth is to me, because a year ago, 2 years ago, I would have responded to growth as to the vibration that I was able to hold, you know, and that in and of itself was, you know, I'm looking at it now, was that one story that I had held and was somewhat egoic, you know, because those that go through ascension saying, well, I'm carrying the greatest light and da 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 da, and those are in somewhat still aspects of judgment, you know, about the light and the dark, if you will. So this whole experience about divine male and divine masculine, you know, the polarity and the duality that we're all carrying, we're all seeing unfold before us, Each and every one of us are going through it in our own unique, distinctive human ways. Whether it's shakeups in the family, school, education, thinking and going wide and big about what can education look like now that we're fifth dimensional, which is what we want to offer in a bit about our understanding, because those experiences that I held about growth, those opinions, those beliefs that I held about growth were based on outdated, airy ideas about what I thought ascension was. And it changes. Ascension for me now and growth for me now is about navigating every moment in compassion and love for who I am, and that is so profound. It takes a lot to say that. Because all love is sacred, right? Because in those energies that I thought about what ascension was, and all the ideas that stemmed from that, all the ideas that I thought I was going to create from that one ideal, and then having to navigate a whole other set of dimensional energies so that I could bring light to it. That's profound growth. There's no way I could have predicted that. There's no way. It's like walking through the door and your soul knows within you that you have the light to change it all, to transmute it all. And at the time I thought I held the resonance, that the resonance, because it was my individual vessel. But what I learned was that going through the last 2 years was now my collective vessel. And it just brings so much depth and growth. That's growth, your oneness. Because I had to share my light and transmute at a collective level that I didn't understand, because it was an individual experience. That dream of ascension was individual, and that's not ascension. Ascension is not individual, it's collective. And it brings that oneness of your collective and your oneness of what growth means. Growth for me now is the oneness of the navigation with Gaia, what I feel and what I can sense and what I can bring light to, and what's holding within you through that growth. Because you're transmuting it within you, calling up those soul contracts, calling up those soul aspects that need your healing, so that it can be one with you in that growth. So profound. That aspect of you wants that oneness. It wants to be in that party with you. It wants to be in this moment where I'm realizing, holy cow, what I thought growth was very detached, singular, And how can we allow our growth to be refined in a way so that it's not I don't know what the word is, so that it's not qualitative and quantitative, grading, like the grading system, A's, B's, C's, because that ideal that I had about ascension and what I was going to, experience took me for a real ride. I had to break down. I'm seeing it now. I shattered everything that I was to be rebuilt again. And now I'm at the point where I'm totally rebuilt. Oh, that's so hard to say. Because I held on to that vision. I held on to that belief. I held on to that version of what I thought ascension was. And for me to be brought down into the navigation of density that my soul really wanted. My soul said, you can do this. This is like going through that fun jungle. You get to experience and you get to navigate and you get to really test your skills as a master. But the personality part of me was so exhausted that I was saying, why am I going through all of this? This is just crazy. But it was the collective. It was the collective oneness that my soul wanted to heal, as well as all of those soul aspects that were coming in to say, I want to be a part of this ride. I want to be a part of this ride. I want to be a part of this ride. Take me with you. Take me with you. And it's you. It's all you. It's all you out there in here. It's all you. You can be of it and not in it, but your light sharing within it all and not judging any part of it and not being attached to anyone's story that is very limited in its perspective of universality and omnipresence. I mean, in a way, I can say that was a very lofty dream and it was very beautiful and great, but in some respect, it was kind of arrogant because it didn't include the oneness of that growth that I had experienced in the past 2 years. But there was a part of me that had to mourn and grieve that, because that ego requires that grieving. It held a very beautiful dream. It was very beautiful, but it didn't include much of what I've experienced the past 2 years, which for me is growth, because I've shared myself in such a way. It's been so honest and authentic. And I've allowed myself to navigate in realms of density and realms of experience so that I could, this is so profound, so that I can connect more deeply at a collective level, which have always held myself at bay because of the energies and the pains that I've seen and I've felt. So profound, oh my gosh, so profound. So that's the healing of the divine masculine. The divine masculine thought that it had, all of these accomplishments, and very lofty and beautiful and noble. But how did it include the vastness of your soul, the beauty and the elegance of your soul, to come forward and nurture every time you fell down, to nurture and say, it's okay, get back up, we can do this. That's growth. Because you're allowing the divine feminine to come forward and say, we got this. I will bless and I will heal every scrape. And you have the light within you to carry anything. So never, ever underestimate whatever it is you're going through. Your soul is so profound and deep and wide and vast. What lofty ideas are you holding on to, as very beautiful and noble as they are, but how are they limiting you from experiencing the vastness of the beauty of who you are? That whatever it is you're facing, that there is that equal vibrational healing potential that is within that same experience, however we define it, and to be compassionate in how we define it. It's only a blink of an eye into its vastness of potentiality. It really is. We're only seeing because we can only see from what we have ever known or can know at that point. I had no idea 2 years ago what I would have experienced these past 2 years. No idea. And being on that experience of, kind of falling off the edge, vibrationally and emotionally and mentally, it's just like, that's growth. You don't have to take yourself there. It doesn't have to be that journey. It was my journey so that I could experience deep soul love, unconditional love, for giving myself the compassion and the gratitude for every single thing I move through, because that's why we're here. Can you love yourself? Can you give yourself gratitude? Just being you, without the goal, without the distorted male ego that says you've got to move through this, this, and this. We've got to accomplish this. We've got to rewrite this. We've got to, all of those things that are the distortions. We are each here to freely be, to honor ourselves, to freely be, to express and explore ourselves in freely being. And it's really profound. That's growth. Can you let go of the distortions and heal that divine male? And just as we're healing the divine feminine, can I let go of the distortions of what lineage had taught me about motherhood? And can I make it my own now? Can I make it free and liberating? Can I make it divinely profound in the vibration of the Empress and the Star Mother, and ground it to earth and make it my own? Breaking all conformity, breaking all systematic energies that limit and block and put confinement around the soul that cannot be confined. The soul cannot be gold. It simply can't. And that's what I found out when they said that, and they offered me that this morning, is they, well, where are all of your, you know, quotas? I remember when I worked in the bank and I was leading a team. I was leading a team in the head office, in the lending office. And every 3 months we would have to do performance reviews, and we would have certain arenas that they would base the performance and so forth. And there would be certain criteria on the calibrations and rating their performance and their experience and so on. And so that's what we're moving away from. But that's how we've determined our ride through this experience. The quotas, the 2.5 kids in the home, and the money in the bank, and the savings, and all of those things, which are very important. It's an experience. But how has that defined us in ways that no longer define who we are becoming? That constant state of becoming a spirit. It's an importance, but it doesn't have to define how you feel valued and worthy. That was the underlying. Break open your heart. Can you be worthy by being you? Can you release the distortions and be worthy in just your being here? You don't have to write 10 books. You don't have to correct anything. You don't have to fix anything. You don't have to goal anything. You don't have to have someone saying, hey, you're great, and the validations that we seek in every way. Can it be just you? And when they say just you, the heavens celebrate. That just you is profound. Wow. Are you shining today or what? Yeah, my growth is just me being here. I'm having fun being me. I'm growing. Can it be that? Can you do a video just to share who you are and have fun sharing who you are? It doesn't have to be a goal of a particular outcome. And how can we let go of those distortions and heal that divine male? Because that divine male is on defense, and that's what I felt. The healing that divine male is letting all of those defenses go and knowing that you're safe. You are loved, you are valued, you are worthy, you are safe, and you don't have to put up any of those blocks for your own worthiness. You are worthy. Heal that within first. I am worthy and I am precious and I am meant to be here. Me being here, me being fully me being fully in my skin, me being fully in my potential of how I want to express myself and explore and experience all that I am as source. Wow, that's growth. And every moment I don't have to attach it to anything. I have beautiful destiny, the words that we get caught up in that mean things that we don't necessarily know what they mean, because it changes. As I said 2 years ago, my soul alignment changed. What I thought had been my destiny had totally been rewritten. Still driven by divine service, exploring, expressing, and co-creating with Source Creator and sharing it with everyone. But it was done in a way that is now more purely me. It's more authentically me. 2 years ago, it was a lot of highly intellectual, highly vibrational information that I had channeled. Being that conduit. I'm still a conduit, still calling in those vibrations and energies, but now I'm living it. I'm being it. I'm growing as I'm growing it. And that flow of navigation of source back and forth and allowing myself to be okay being human, not fighting it, not resisting it, not goaling it, not over managing it, which is another divine masculine distortion. And just allowing life to live through me. The allowance is that divine feminine. Still having that will to, yes, I'm absolutely wanting to create this, and I see this in my future, and it's a beautiful, lofty energy that I'm throwing out to the universe, and it'll come back. But I'm not willing it. That's the divine masculine distortions that our whole socioeconomic system is now crumbling, because it's not within integrity that we have been built on, because it was done out of, imbalances, the winning and the losing, and that will not serve everyone. That's why they're crumbling, because it didn't serve the all. There were minority groups. 5D won't have minority groups. We will be equal, all equal. Women, men, equal. Women will be paid in similar as men, all roles. So how can we get there? How can we perceive the divine male and female equal? Children, equal. Minority, equal. It's all equal. We're all one. We are valued. Not to say that those experiences that I had 2 years ago about what I thought ascension was and my specific goal and growth, what I assumed as growth was to reach that vibrational resonance, and I did. Little did I know there was a whole whack more for me to learn and grow from. Growing of the vastness of who I am as love, who I am as light. I mean, it's just profound. Growth, I mean, as the love of yourself. That's it. That's why we're here. We can't take anything with us. If we grow a big building and call it something and say that we're doing this to serve this and that, that's well and good and it serves. But we can't take it with us. We take the growth and the love of ourselves and who we are and the acceptance and the acknowledgement and the beauty of who we are and how we're growing and how we're expanding who we are, and we're reaching out, we're pressing out together, and we're reaching out together, and we're coming back to center and saying, this is what happened yesterday, let's rework it this way, let's do this now. And it's constantly growing within the love. That's growth. Growing within the love. And it can be, they're showing me now, it can be done in the same way. Many of us, when there is abundance and money that is involved, we're looking at it from that highest integrous. We're calling that light in. This is really important. They're showing me. We're calling the light into all of our infrastructures. That's how we co-create these 5D platforms, as we're doing within our families, right? And these 5D platforms that we're infusing light into, we're infusing greater integrity or infusing greater oneness. When money and abundance comes into it, because we'll absolutely still need the resources, to move and mix and co-create, from those resonances and shift and change it. It's never going to be just this and then just this. It will be the working of the energy of shifting our vibration, shifting our understanding and expanding into the new. And not keeping to those ideals that were still beautiful and lofty and very great. There is no judgment on those. We're now shifting and changing it to expand within the growth of who we are as souls and as spirit and as one with source. As a new vibrational tribe, if you will. And what the tribe needs, because that's that societal expansiveness. And so they're saying with money, I found that this is just my experience, and I'm only offering it as just this one reflection. And for all of us, we'll have different reflections and different ideals and different vibrations and learnings and expansiveness on what growth means to each soul, because it'll be different. I'm only offering this as my personal, intimate conversation with you as I share myself and seeing how it's reflected in the collective from a micro-macro perspective. That growth, how I was perceiving my growth 2 years ago, is now completely different to how I perceive it now. So how can I infuse, if I'm wanting to create something, and this is from my personal perspective, how can I create the idea of abundance, which I had a completely different perspective of even yesterday than I do now, because I'm now at a vibrational experience through this vibration of growth that's moving through me. I'm integrating growth. This is the process of integration. I was awakened to the ideal of growth that I had then and now. And it's all now. And so how can I infuse light and unconditional love of me moving as love being my growth? That's how I'm defining. And I'm experiencing growth right now as my expression of love for me in all moments, regardless of any past stories or ideals or thought forms, if you will. So how can I infuse this new money experience, this new financial experience in the similar way? Well, we can infuse money as love. We can infuse money as the growth of love, of the growth of fairness, of the growth of vastness of me being more fair with who I am about what growth meant to me. That way we're valuing And that they're showing me that way I can value whatever comes to me, and whatever I manifest and attract, I'm valuing it and I'm offering it forward in the same vibrational experience. And it's always about experience. That's how you will allow yourself to release all the fears about what if I get a whole bunch of money, am I going to waste it? Am I going to lose it? Those are those fears, right? Well, you can allow yourself the vibration of whatever you want in your experience. You're a source, and source will always be okay with whatever your experience is, because it's your free will, and source wants you to experience everything that your soul is meant to experience. So there is no judgment on it from source perspective. So in this ideal of growth, and how can that expansiveness of growth, as we've said, offered many times, but I'm always reflecting back to how I have limited myself in my definitions. The divine masculine that was so distorted because it was so overwhelmed and overworked for eons, and I'm bringing my divine masculine into balance with my divine feminine by expressing more of my divine feminine, by feeling more, and allowing the divine masculine just to take a break and allow things to flow. So how can I infuse this idea of growth into this new loving and lush garden that I am now sowing in a new way, vibrationally with me as a sacred garden of growth? You know, being that vibration of, well, I'm just going to flow in every moment, me being love of who I am. That's enough for me. I'm really great with that right now, because I want to nurture and I want to feel the vibration and sacredness of this growth. Because when you feel it, you know, as I obviously showed you today in our video, you know, unapologetically, you know, that when you feel that growth within you at that soul level, it will move you. It will move the insides of you. That's your soul, because you're recognizing, you're acknowledging. I acknowledge myself as this growth, and it's love, and it's moving. You will move. You know, you will feel yourself move, and that's that vibration of appreciation and gratitude. Like, wow, never saw that coming. Never saw that coming. You know, before I started this video, didn't see that coming. You know, I was unfolding as I was communing with you, because vibrationally we're all doing it right now anyways. And there's others within the audience that also require that, you know, well, how have I been holding limitations on myself, as lofty and beautiful as they were? But perhaps there's a whole whack of growth that's in that self-love vibration that I haven't been connecting with, and I've been putting at bay because it was uncomfortable. You know, I had to go through a lot of discomfort and painful experiences. But in navigating it, that's where the growth was. To know that every day I'm coming up with new light. Every day I can expand and call new light into it. Every day I can be the alchemist and say, I'm going to call light into this situation. I have no idea how it will unfold. I'm releasing all control, which is the divine masculine, distortion, control. I'm releasing all control, and I'm surrendering everything to source. Surrender it all. I surrender it all. And I'm going to allow however this needs to unfold. I trust. I'm living as a soul of growth. I'm moving. This is growth. My surrender is growth. My ability to see myself as love in every moment, that's growth. I accept myself fully and I acknowledge myself fully in all moments, that's growth. Not that vibrational, you know, goal that I had limited myself by, because the universe has other plans. Your soul has other plans. Your soul knows that you've been here a million times on different realms, different earths, because there's infinite number of earths that we're all working within. Your soul knows exactly what you're capable of. It's the human perspective, because it's been brought up in those beliefs and limitations and the psyche wounds, and those that are pressing thought programs and projections to you that say you're not worthy, coming within societal systems that say you're not worthy, you know, whatever the societal systems are, that we are here to bring light and infuse light to say that, okay, well, that's the old system, but this is the new me, you know? So these are my values. This is what I am worthy of. This is my vibrational, you know, resonance. And this is what I'm worthy of. I get to determine that. My value, my worth, my vibrational resonance is unique to me. And I'm worthy. I get to define that. Me and source, nobody else. I get to define it. And that's empowering. That's why I said the other day, in all of our offerings, we'll offer this, because there's so many children and teenagers and young youth they're moving through and need those experiences of, you get to define who you are. And by moving through those experiential moments are soul defining, they're character defining. You get to choose, through the bumps and through the falling down and getting back up and calling greater light in and trusting yourself with source, and your prayers are being answered, and trusting in the miracles you want with source, trusting in the miracles you want with source, calling in the light, it'll be okay. Those are those vorticey moments that you're growing, and you're growing. Your vortex of you is growing. The omnipresence of you is growing. I call in the light. I'm okay. I'm one with source. Everything's going to be fine. I know I'm growing through this. There's a lesson. I'll just sit back and chill, and I'll relax, and it'll come to me. I get it. I'm honoring this, and I'm letting go of all things that are holding me back, and limitation and distortion, because it's not valid anymore. The templates are changed. You've changed. So that's profound. Wow. So profound. And be okay with allowing yourself to face and honor and be compassionate. As often as you can, be compassionate with yourself. Like, wow, I did that really well today. I bought myself a salad. That's so great. And I'm not eating cupcakes. Whatever it might be. Have that compassion, because you're growing through it. You're acknowledged. I've always said that the acknowledgement part is, and the integration part. The integration process can last you weeks. Because next week, what I think about growth is going to change and going to expand with me, because the energy and the vortex of me is expanding. Through my intention and my focus will be growth of love for me. I get to determine my value. No one else. No one else. I know my value. I know my worth. And it comes from all of those experiences. Say, wow, I got back up. I got back up. And I will stand. This is who I am. This is who I am. And no matter what comes to me, that I can always respond and reflect unconditional love and compassion. That is growth. You're no longer responding and reacting in ways that are defensive, because that's growth. That's mastery, and it takes practice. It takes practice, because the ego has been trained in certain ways, in certain programs, and the male is distorted. The female has been squashed. So how can we bring everything back up into balance every day? I express my beautiful emotional body, and I honor it. I honor all that I am as divine feminine, honor all that I am as divine masculine. And they're going to work in balance with me today. And do checkpoints throughout the day. My divine male and my divine female are balanced. Just those intentions and bringing conscious awareness and conscious calling in. I'm focusing and I'm centering that I am balanced and I am in harmony. The will, the intelligence, the emotions, and the beautiful nurturance, everything harmonizing as one. And you're just this beautiful essence of flowing, fluidic, beautiful source essence. You're just glowing everywhere, right? You're not suppressing or depressing or, calling judgment on and judging those aspects of you that felt dishonored, and dealing with them as they come up, Well, I feel confident and good about just flowing with life, and I'm a beautiful, nurturing being. But I also have great intelligence, and I also have great will, and I absolutely know how to manifest what I need to manifest. I know who I am. And it can be done with grace and elegance. And that's one thing they wanted me to bring forward, is always know that whatever it is you're moving through, and it's this beautiful balancing act and this beautiful elegant dance, that love is elegance. Moving with source as source is elegance. You're going to have those tripping up moments where something's going to come to you, and it will be, it's like, okay, now what do I do with that? Just soften, center, and move with your elegance. You can nurture it. You can soothe it. You can love it. You can give compassion and forgiveness to it, because it's you. I held that belief. I held that judgment, but you know what? I'm going to love it. This is my growth. I'm going to love you. I'm going to love you. I'm going to love you today. I'm going to come forward. I will love you. I will love you. I will love you. Every time I look in the mirror, I will love you. I will love you, and I will tell you how powerful you are, and I will tell you that self-love is the all. Self-love will open every portal. Self-love will allow you to experience all. It's love. And that is growth. Every moment, be love. Every moment, allow yourself the compassion. I call this love in. I am love. I call it. I'm loving. I am lovable. I am worthy of love. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. And I call it for myself today. That is balance and ground. Woo! That's awesome. That's awesome. And we wanted to do this yesterday, but we didn't. We forgot. I was just so awesomely packed with our sharing yesterday. Thank you. And thank you so much for allowing me to share myself with you in this way. As I said, it's very new to me. It's very new to open my heart in such transparency. Been very transparent about the intelligence and all of the information and the experiences that I've had. There's never been a mistruth about it. But as far as my personal experiences and sharing my dreams and so forth, personally, what I've been through, I've said that I could write a couple hundred books on what I've been through. And it's such an amazing, incredible journey. And I'm learning in every moment to value it all. Value. Oh my gosh, it's so valuable. Because it's an incredible growth when you're going through the most powerful transition of your life, whether it be a family or a breakup or whatever it might be that is a huge life transition. Feel into and soften into the growth of that as love, and just know it as love. However it looks, know it as love, and you will feel the threads of the pearls of wisdom thread from that. It's just so profound. That's what I've been learning. That's what I've been allowing myself to soften and explore, because love will take you anywhere. 2 years ago, it was all about my vibrational resonance. It was very singular. It was very singularly driven. Now it's about, wow, I want to thread my way through everything as love. I want to experience myself in every way as love, and I will own it, and I will honor it, and I will breathe through it. I'm not going to know what to do. I'm going to surrender to source, in those moments, and I will trust that I will be led and I will be guided, because I am love. It's all love. And how was I defining things that didn't seem love as not love? That's where the growth is. Those were those real nuggets of authenticity and pure wisdom come from, is those things that you thought you judged and you valued, and they show themselves in a completely new, vibration. It's like, whoa, that just takes you a whole new level and expands your soul's, appreciation. That's what the soul wants. The soul's with you. You've got infinite aspects of divine love and grace with you. So let them live through you. You're not going to know it all, but allow yourself the knowing that, it will come forward when it's ready in your own sacred awakening. And that was about the sensuality, which is the divine feminine as well. Allowing the sensual part of you to feel through those moments of greater self-awareness. When you're feeling yourself in nature, that's a part of sensual awakening, because it touches in the very cellular chemistry of who we are. And that's why we were offering yesterday to give yourself 3 days in nature to get established what your vortex, your temple energy is. And then start playing with awakening and bringing balance to the divine feminine, that sensuality that both male and female have. Males have sensuality as well. And so the first card that came up, I love this because this is what we were talking about. I'm so happy that this was the first card. I'll show it to you. My teams are so amazing. I love you, Spirit. I love you, the Divine and Holy Mother Father. We just see this. See, when you have those soul defining moments and in our sacred sharing this morning, that's how I felt when I was experiencing what I was re-evaluating and contemplating and integrating growth. When you see all of the cycles of time that you experience, and Rasuli, he's such an amazing artist. When you see all the cycles of time that you experience, and often some of them that we define them in ways that are not congruent to what you're actually moving through, because we only have the words for what we've used. But this is why in the fifth dimension, we always challenge ourselves to use very sacred and honoring words, because it doesn't matter what we're moving through. It's very sacred. It's all source. It's all you in growth. In expansion, growth is expansion. And so what we thought to be true in one moment of who we are, we're constantly spiraling and igniting ourselves in greater spirals of growth and expansiveness. And so what I thought was my soul's dream and my soul's destiny, if you will, it's now expanding to a whole greater perspective that's expanding out to a greater consciousness of omnipresence. And that really, really gets me excited, because that dream was not omnipresent that I had. The growth of me experiencing every moment as love and traversing the densities that I had traversed, that was my omnipresence, being able to connect with the whole collective that was also going through things that I had not previously had acknowledged, you know, because of the vibrations and where I had driven my experience to go. And again, when we offer these things, there is no right or wrong or judgment or quantitative or qualitative. I'm giving you my personal experiences and the judgments and the limitations that I had held upon myself, which limited me to allow myself self-appreciation and self-love. That's growth. You know, it's not about the driven outcome. It's about the journey and the growth that you're experiencing in every moment, regardless of how it may appear, because it's not how Source sees it. You know, it was a divine ride, and it was so magnificent. It was so beautiful that I was able to bring light. I was able to bring that light. I was able to break through. This is what this breakthrough means, that breakthrough series, that breakthrough, that light is breaking through me. I knew it was within me, and I knew that I could bring myself to this new moment of self-love and appreciation. The spirals of time, just for a moment, give yourself joy, to love yourself as you are, without the distortions of the vibrational paradigms and programs that we're leaving, we're transmuting as we do. At any given time, we have the offering of the divine cosmic matrix. It germinates and is reflected back to us in a manifested reality. So just for a moment, even if you're in the midst of darkness or deep suffering, how can you bring joy to the existence of whatever is underneath? It is a wild ride, and this is called life. Every time you open your arms, say yes, the universe will respond. This oracle brings you a message. In this moment, trust that there is joy waiting to be felt. Let go of your attachments to the apparent problems and the definitions and I'm putting in my own words. So the attachments that I held to that one specific, this is my ascension. And how many light workers have that? You know, because we've never been through this before. It's just natural. You know, the ego wants to put a goal to something. Okay, that's where we're going to go. You know, but the whole soul of you has a different story, because the whole soul of you absolutely knows what the soul is aching for. The soul is aching for you to traverse the vastness of your soul, because it holds great wisdoms, and it will activate the land, and it will activate the collective, and it will activate you. We have no idea that our fields activate, and as we step upon Gaia, we activate. So there's a far more greater going on in the spiral of all that we are, but how are our limitations holding us back through that depth of self-love and appreciation and the joy of who we are, just being us? It's profound. And of course, the second card that came up was contemplation. And she's just, I'm bringing the story into myself here. She's contemplating the light that she, from that experience this morning, she's contemplating the light that she thought that she had, this program and design and resume. This is going to be my ascension journey. It's beautiful. I'm loving it. But in contemplation, her soul is saying, oh my gosh, you are so vast. You see these winds of change, they're going to come. Are you going to take it? Or are you going to limit yourself to what you thought was going to be your ride? Because even in your grandest, wildest dreams, it's a limitation. Can you surrender and trust Source? So what this is saying to me is that she is succumbing to her greatness. She is going to ride with the flow of Source, and she will allow Source to show her everything that is meant to be shown. And that's so profound. Oh my gosh. And this is number 69. How beautiful is that? That's the year I was born. And that contemplation, if we reverse it, 69 is 96. That contemplation allows us to see the value of the light and dark in all things, because how we hold ourselves in limitation is a shadow, because it's built from a program of ego. You know, how can we fully surrender into the moment for moment growth of love is essentially the entire message for today. Just took us 45 minutes to get there, you know, and contemplate, what does growth mean for me? What does it feel like? How can I feel into this beautiful growth of love in every breath? I'm breathing with the heavens. I'm growing. Oh my gosh, I'm growing. I'm surrendering into source. I'm surrendering into love. I'm surrendering into all that I am. I'm so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm so valued. Oh my gosh, I'm invaluable. There's no price tag. There's no number. It's invaluable. There's no, not qualitative. I'm awesome. I'm just expansive. And how are we put limitations on ourselves? And we need to contemplate to take ourselves out of that and allow spirit to surrender us into something bigger and grander. And that's why these beautiful, chiffon, these are the waves of time that source is offering her. Can you surrender and let us take you to where your soul really wants to go, because you're so grand and your mind will limit you in every way. Can you drop into your heart and surrender to what you know that you are? It's so grand. And the next one that came out was, well, yeah, I mean, how beautiful are these cards? Within nothing, there is everything. So, I mean, it's all one, right? It's all one. We were just talking about that. My limitation, it was a great and lofty message, but within that, there was nothing, because I hadn't experienced the growth that I just felt today for who I really am as an appreciative value of source, just moving through me as me. All those aspects were me, moving through me. Did I value it? Did I appreciate it? Did I do my reflection to say, wow, this has been such an incredible ride? Can I just spend the day in full appreciation of me? From the point of stillness, a moment, a complete universe is opening up, and there's endless expansiveness. Your every thought and the intentions spread ripples of consciousness throughout the universe. You are such a creative being, sending consciousness into motion. The universe receives your yearning and your aspirations. Are your arms open? And how are you manifesting this? Open your arms and sigh and speak your truth aloud, for the loving universe is your receiving destiny. So how beautiful is that? It's the spiritual law that can't be denied, and it's always lived through your heart. The portal of your heart is the richness of who you are. It's your poetic song. And so, they're showing me that this offering and this intimate conversation in our early morning chats, allowing us to see within one another our collective story, the densities that we move through and we navigate through, and how we've limited ourselves through our definitions and the distorted male ego that's through every societal program, that each of us are able to shine our light through, that each of us are able to offer our uniqueness, to offer our appreciation and our unique value, because our value is infinitely, it's infinitely based, and it's ongoing and growing. And value can never be placed in a spiritual experience, because it's infinite source. That's where we bring the minority to the equal. It's all valued. It's so rich, and it can't be defined away. It can't be boxed. It can't be gold. It's open. It's flowing, it's rich, it's appreciative. When you talk about appreciation and gratitude, it's not a set vibration for me. When you open your heart in gratitude, that gratitude it's not a closed experience. It's an opening experience. It's ongoing. Gratitude ripples out for all, and then you catch that gratitude on its way back. It's constant movement. Judgment is very closed, and it defines and it stifles. That gratitude, to open in gratitude, I'm fully appreciating who I am. I'm grateful for who I am, and it's expansive. You feel the box of you opening. And sensual awakening. $1:45. What a beautiful morning. Hey, what a beautiful morning. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for connecting with us. Within the sacred temple of your body, your soul experiences the vast buffet of life. It's all going back to this growth. It's amazing how these 5 cards are threading their way back to growth. Can you appreciate and express appreciation and pleasure and joy for you and the way you're moving through life? Isn't that just what we've been talking about? How can the muffling and the fuzziness of what we think, stifle us and not experiencing the sensuality of who we are? And that's that movement of just surrendering into source as spirit and just being sensual with every moment. I'm just going to move through this, and I'm going to sense my way around this, because we're resonant beings, we're vibrational beings. I'm going to sense my way through this. I know what I'm doing. I'm fully tapped in, and I am absolutely in full alignment of my divine feminine intuition. I'm one with my higher self. I know what's going on within me. I'm going to feel my way through this. My body is awakening in every way. I'm going to talk with Guy. I'm going to sense. I'm going to feel. I'm going to, create sound. So how are we limiting ourselves by those distortions and those ways of behaving within our society that are ready to take a back seat and just be soothed and healed and nurtured, so that they're brought back into balance through that nurturing of the divine feminine? The divine feminine is allowing. The divine feminine is nurturing. It's allowing the emotional body to be all that it can be through the manifestation. We heal and we manifest through our feelings and our emotions. So how can it be delicate, and how can it be vibrant with growth and expansiveness for who we are as beautiful beings having a human experience? How beautiful and wonderful. Thank you, dear lighted ones, for joining us today in this beautiful, intimate conversation. The bottom of the deck is the hidden beauty, because that's where all the beauty resides. It's within that opening portal and that sensual awakening and that sensual movement. This is my growth. This is awesome. I don't know what to do. Having the answer and having that accomplishment is not the growth. And that's what I thought. The growth is you're allowing yourself to move as sensual, dynamic, divine source essence, and everything will unfold as it should. Trust in the light that you hold. Trust in the elegance that you are. Trust in the wisdoms and the intelligence of your intuitiveness to guide you, to navigate the density, to create greater light, to call it in and work the energy to call in that greater light, that greater wisdom, and the portals and the doors will open to you. And that universe will keep offering you that trust. I trust what's going on. I'm calling in a miracle. I got this. And I'm just going to relax into whatever comes. I get this. Because that's where the heart space, every moment I'm growing, I'm expanding, I'm pressing out, and it's going, and it's a ride that's constant, letting go, opening, letting go, reworking. So let go of the definitions that hold you back, dear lighted ones, and we send you divine grace and divine light. Know that you are great bringers of light, great bringers of joy, great bringers of your own creative infusion. And allow your emotional body to be soothed and healed, calling up and in forward all that you are as a divine being of light, acknowledging and appreciating, giving great gratitude for yourself, and feeling into the vibration of growth and what it means for you. And allowing yourself to be sensual in your movement about life, feeling into that female divine feminine frequencies that allow you to sense and feel at every level, awakening to the vibrations of the cosmos, micro, macro, Gaia, and all that you are as a soul, to come forward and live with you in this process. They want to be a part of the ride. Your soul wants to be a part of this experience with you, and your higher self will guide you in every way. So trust. Trust that you are an expansive being of infinite light and infinite intelligence as source creator. You're pure love. Pure love. And we love you. Thank you. I love you, team.